Tough one. We missed. We missed bad. Swing and a miss, and then some. Um, I take pride in my success in Challenger stage and Legend stage, usually at majors. If ever I've missed out on a diamond coin, it always happens in the championship stage, either by quarterfinals or just missing the grand finals winner. So this one hurts. This one stings. I'm sorry if you put the full belief in me. And I've sat here kind of looking at this and trying to ask myself how I could have maybe gotten through with 5, but really, I don't think anybody could have predicted the amount of Counter-Strike that went down the way it did in the last 4 days. I've got 2-0-3 teams in my bottom row. That right there is a death sentence. Bad News Eagles beat G2 in that best of 1. I knew it was over. A lot of people were waiting on this last couple of days before things really, really seemed bleak. But for me, it was out the gate. I knew I was going to have some troubles with this stage. So I'm coming to you tonight as the humbled Connor. I am no longer riding the wave of 7 out of 9 in the Challenger stage. I am no longer trying to champion the 9 out of 9 movement. I'm just trying to get my gold coin because we still have standards, all right? We may have missed out on diamond, but I'm not taking no silver coin. Ugh, all right? It's gold or nothing. And gold is still very achievable. 2 quarterfinal predictions, a semifinal prediction, and then the grand final prediction as well. That is all we need to still salvage something of this situation. And that seems very doable, in fact. Cool stories coming out of all these underdogs making deep runs. For all we know, we're going to look back at this major and see it as the changing of the guard, right? There's so much uncertainty when it comes to CS2 that we have no guarantees about who will be at the top come that first major in Copenhagen next March. You never know when you're looking at a new set of stars. This could feel like a fluke. This may be a fluke. But for all we know, the future holds more and more of Monte, GamerLegion, Apeks, and Into the Breach. Right? These are clearly the underdogs coming into this event. They have near non-existent experience on LAN and zero experience in a stage of this caliber. Right? That is why I think that the playoff bracket itself is actually going to start to regulate itself. I think that the teams we know are going to now take over the tournament and make that run for the grand finals. So I'm going to start at the bottom here because I think Vitality versus Into the Breach is a pretty easy prediction. Obviously, coming off of a Rio win where the competition was high, ZywOo looks unstoppable. Spinks is right there with him. Dupree has told us that his Rio confidence has boiled over into this event, and I think you see that in his gameplay. This doesn't look like a Vitality that's going to lose to Into the Breach. As much as Into the Breach has made an amazing run, I'm sorry, boys. I'm sorry, lads. It's not coming home. All right, this was an amazing feat for UKCS and something they should definitely be proud of, but we're in Paris, and I don't think ZywOo is going to miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to at least make a deep playoff run. Team Liquid versus Apeks, I'm going to take Team Liquid. This is one where the amount of experience, accolades, achievements, and talent that is stacked up on Team Liquid should just smoke Apeks. Okay, I think Apeks, despite making top 8, actually benefited from a complete crumbling of the Ninjas in Pajamas under pressure. They had that 14-3 lead on Ancient. Okay, if Liquid can get a 14-3 lead versus a team like Apeks, they're going to close that game. Apeks will not get the same type of chances that they did versus NIP when it comes to playing Liquid on a stage in front of a massive crowd where some of these guys have zero experience. Jacob, Stiko, Kubin, they can bring something to the table, but the way Apeks collapsed versus GamerLegion, I'm sorry, I don't see a way where NA doesn't take this and get into the semifinals. Then we have Monte versus GamerLegion, which is definitely the most open of all of the quarterfinals. The fact that any of these two teams are going to make it to semis is an amazing, amazing narrative. It's some of you can be critical of it, some of you may hate it, but they get to play each other and their dreams are on the line. And to go even one step further in a major playoffs is a career achievement that has been presented to them. You can only beat the team that's in front of you. And in this case, these are the 4th and 5th seeded teams, so they will play one another. And when we look at Monte, I think that they have what is the scariest entry combination of Woro and Boros. The amount of clutch potential that Woro brings to the table, the entry ability of Boros is a horrifying idea for GamerLegion to have to try and hold back. And that's why I think that on an individual level in terms of mechanics and firepower, Monte have GamerLegion covered. You know, we've been seeing an uptick from the lesser players of GamerLegion and Kioz and Isaac. We've seen moments from them. You know, I actually was praising Isaac because he's got a really good visualization of players' positions. He shoots through smokes more consistently than anybody else on GamerLegion, and those are the kinds of kills that can create moments and opportunities and frustration and game-winning, you know, impactful, all of a sudden type kills. But when it comes down to this matchup, I think that I put most of my stock into Shuhei. You know, I'm somebody who has watched Shuhei rise through the Academy Leagues and be untouchable in the 4 seasons that he led Mao's NXT to the championships in that Academy League. We saw what happened to the talent that he was the person who nurtured. All right, when we talk about Exertion and JDC and Torzi and their run back in Rio to a quarterfinals, semis, I don't think those players are half of the player they are if it wasn't for Shuhei molding them and sculpting them early on in their careers. And we're seeing him do exactly that with another set of players. You know, he's got A-Core at his disposal. That op presence was very much felt by some of GamerLegion's opponents. And IM finished this stage of the major as the 2nd highest rated player overall. He did not taper off. He did not fall back. He continued to thrive as the rifling star of GamerLegion. And I'm going to give this one to them. All right. You don't need all 4 quarterfinals, so do I feel like I'm taking a bit of a chance? Yeah, I think Monte are still the favorites, but I'm going to lead GamerLegion here. I think that Shuhei is actually bringing in more comfort on land than most people are going to expect. Yes, it was just Academy League performances, but they've got this. I think they're going to be the more collected team. They're going to be the more calculated team. They're going to be more prepared as well. And I think that that'll bode very well for GamerLegion in this head-to-head. Watch them take a semifinal. What an amazing career accomplishment that will be for these young men. And then we get to the elephant in the room, right? The heroic FaZe Clan quarterfinal. A game that could be a semi, could be a grand final. But here we have it in the first round. FaZe have shown more resilience than any other team so far at this entire major cycle, from last chance qualifier at the RMR to now being in top 8. An amazing game versus Bad News Eagles, a phenomenal match versus Na'Vi that, just like this heroic match, could have been deeper into the tournament, should have been, because it deserved being in front of a massive arena filled to the brim with Counter-Strike fans who want to froth at the concept of the last CSGO major. But they're facing Heroic, and Heroic have not dropped many opportunities so far throughout 2023. They've been losing in grand finals. That's the tale of Heroic, but they've been getting to grand finals quite consistently. And if Na'Vi was somewhere in this playoff bracket, I think that head-to-head actually could take Heroic down a peg. But in reality, I don't see Cadian dropping the ball here. I think that Shush has been playing above his average, and Jabby powers up in playoffs to a point where Heroic are just the better unit. They have also run through Legend Stage 3-0, whereas FaZe Clan are obviously just surviving. Game after game, they're just surviving. And you can't put them down unless you are an S-tier team. That's what we've learned about FaZe. But guess what? Heroic, they are S-tier. And so that quarterfinals is theirs for the taking. I think the Danes are going to make another deep run. In fact, I'll just jump over GamerLegion because there's no way they're going to lose to them. And even if FaZe topple Heroic, GamerLegion aren't getting further. So I'm going to write them off in the semifinal. Trust my gut here and say that Cadian and his boys, his troop, his cult, get one more chance at lifting this trophy. Vitality versus Team Liquid. Now, here there's a ton of experience, right? We've got North America trying to make a run. This is a team that went 0-2 and somehow managed to bring it back. They nearly lost to Fluxo, but ever since that Fluxo loss, we've actually seen Team Liquid kick it up a notch, right? Domination versus complexity, domination versus Greyhound, keeping a gap between them and the other teams in order to move it to this point. And for that reason, versus Vitality, I think we've got a tight match. Even with ZywOo and Spinks looking as good as they do, even with Vitality getting into grand finals lately, you know, I've got a decision to make here. Either I'm expecting this to be another Rio Grand Finals, or I'm putting stock in North America. We've already lost our Diamond Coin. I think Team Liquid, there's a chance they were to pull this off. But we're in Paris. And moments like this come once in a lifetime for players like ZywOo and Spinks. To think that Magisk could win another major without the other Astralis boys. To think that dupreeh, the most majors attended, as he has been at every single one of them across 10 years. Do you not think that that experience is going to shine through? Do you not think that that value is inherent in his presence on a stage like this? You've got Zonic behind you. You've got Apeks at the helm. You've got the energy. You've got the crowd. You've got everything you need here to lift the major trophy, for ZywOo to be the guy. While Nico fell, while Elige will fall, these players who have stories behind them and who some would argue deserve that major, well, now we know Nico doesn't get one. He's just like Guardian. And I think Elige will end up on that list as well, as Vitality move this to a grand finals where, yet again, just like Rio, they take it. In an op department, I take it to Vitality. In a star rifler, I give it to Spinks. Is the bottom of Vitality comparable to the skill floor of Heroic? Yes, absolutely. And I think that if anything, you know, Heroic, if they start bullying the likes of Apeks and maybe get their hands on dupreeh, Magisk is going to play a very important role in this series, because I don't think 2 players can topple Heroic, but I do think 3 can. And whether that's dupreeh or Magisk to pick up slack, or maybe ZywOo just goes absolute god mode. But I'm going to say we're going to get a French champion on French soil, and that ZywOo gets his flowers. And then we'll go into CS2, talking about all of these upsets and all of these underdogs and the next generation of talent that is to be. I hope you guys have luck, because we could have used it in the Legend stage. We'll probably still need it here in the Championship stage. And more importantly than anything else, than any pick'em, just watch as much Counter-Strike as you can. This is the last CSGO Major, and it's going to be phenomenal. See you guys on the other side.